Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Chris Miller and I'm the dentist at Renew Dental Arts. You may have seen us, we're just at 22 and Delaware Streets, and we get so many questions about why do I get cavities. One of the questions I hear is, I brush every day and I floss every day and I have a cavity? And then so we wanted to try to figure out, well, what causes cavities? We hear something so many times that just seems to fly under the radar for a lot of people. And I think what it is drinks. A lot of people don't know that what they're drinking throughout the day is going to cause them cavities. So we discussed three major things that whenever we're talking with a patient, three major factors for a cavity. One is your diet. What are you eating throughout the day? Your hygiene. How are you cleaning your teeth throughout the day? And then susceptibility. Some people, they do have what people call softer teeth, but that's more of like a medical diagnosis. So we set that aside and go with the first two until the third one necessarily needs to be investigated. So we go even deeper discussion about those. So diet and hygiene. How often and with what? So how often if we're gonna talk drinks, how often are you drinking drinks? And with what? I mean, just what kind of drink are you having? So we have a bunch of drinks here. So a lot of people get cavities from drinks, and somebody finally said, you should do a video. So we're doing our video. And what we've done is we've gotten a bunch of drinks. So we've got sodas, teas, there's LaCroix, there's sparkling waters, there's cold brew, regular coffee, hot teas, there's fruit juices. Which one is this? Kombucha, yeah. And then we've got natural spring water, bottled water, and then even milk. So why would we include milk? I'll talk about that later. But what we're going to do is we bought a litmus paper. Litmus paper, it's going to be in this tiny little bottle here, and it's going to have a whole bunch of different colors in it. You dip it in, you pull it out, 15 seconds later you know if it's acidic or not. So a lot of these things have either acid or sugar in them. And if it's not acidic and it has sugar in it, the sugar gets turned into acid by the germs in your mouth anyways. So if it has a lot of sugar, that's what we think about causing cavities. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna see which one's the most acidic. The one I'm most concerned about is the one that I think is almost kind of like an epidemic in itself. And that's cavities caused by one of these drinks. And if you've been to my office, you've heard it before. I'm gonna pick it up because it says 0 calories, 0 sweetener, 0 sodium, innocent. It says innocent, it really says innocent. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna crack this open, we're gonna pour some in a glass and try our test strip. But the things I wanna talk to you about is just acidity. So how acidic does something need to be in order to cause cavities? At what pH, so pH is just how much hydrogen atoms are available to eat away at things. What pH, what acidity level do we get cavities? So if you think about the plaque on our teeth, if you ever scratch your fingernail across your teeth and you get that little film, that's germs, saliva, and food. That pH is 4. Neutral 7 on a 0 to 14 scale. 4 is really acidic. Your saliva is generally 7. Anytime we introduce an acid, it takes an hour for our mouth to become neutral again. So an hour. So if you think about, I took a sip and I set it down, and then I took a sip and I set it down. It never really neutralized that acid. It would take an hour. So if you think, oh, I have a coffee in the middle of the day and then I have one in the afternoon, you've eaten breakfast, you had your coffee, then you ate lunch, and then you had something else. Your mouth is always acidic. And you might think, hey, I brush 2-3 times a day and I'm still getting cavities. And it's because your mouth never was anything but acidic. So we're gonna crack one open. This one's my favorite because it says it's innocent. So we're gonna see just how innocent Mr. LaCroix is. But we see a lot of LaCroix cavities, I think. These types of cavities happen in between the teeth. So if somebody says, ooh, well, that's a pleasant sound. Somebody says, oh, I get cavities in between my teeth. And you say, really, what caused your cavities? They say, oh, I don't floss much. That's probably not it. It's probably the drinks. Flossing is a really big deal when we're trying to prevent gum disease, because it's the food that sticks in between teeth that makes the gums swell, right? but it's the food in between the teeth that could also cause cavities. But in reality, it's probably the drinks going in between. So I'm gonna pour this in here. Has a lovely bubble. But a lot of people love LaCroix. We get a lot of LaCroix cavities here in our office. And people say, oh, I don't drink anything but water. See, people think this is just water, but the bubbles, it's carbonation. Carbonation is acidic. So we dip it in here, and I think it said 15 seconds. And then we line it up and see what color it matches with. So, so you dip it in, make sure all four, it even made the bubbles more bubbly. And then we got to shake off the excess, it said. And then we wait for about 15 seconds. And then after 15 seconds, we just line it up and see which one's going to work best with it. And then it has a 0 to 14 scale. 0 to 14, 0 incredibly acidic. I think battery acid's 1, stomach acid's like 1.5 to 2. And then 14 would be the exact opposite, alkaline or basic. So let's see, I'm gonna start at neutral. I don't see it working there, so I'm gonna work my way back. Teeth get cavities at 5.5 or lower. So plaque is 4. And I'm looking at this, and I think we're somewhere around 5. It looks like 5. So that is below the 5.5 threshold for pH for cavities. So what we're gonna do, and I know people drink these all day long. People drink these LaCroix all day long, and so I know that the mouth has never been anything but acidic, and so we're gonna get a lot of cavities with this. It says it's innocent, but at 5, we're gonna get cavities. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a time out, we're gonna test all of them, and then we'll be able to just tell you what we see. But I mean, we've got some really great drinks. Before we do that, I do wanna say, why did we include milk in here? So dairy's another one that people say, oh, I drink milk and water. And I drink milk before I go to bed maybe. And so the milk proteins and the milk sugars, the sugar that's in it is called lactose. And there's a germ in our mouth that loves lactose. It's called lactobacillus. And that germ just goes crazy while you have that. And so you're gonna get cavities not because milk, I'm gonna bet when we test it is gonna be neutral or even the opposite of acidic, basic. So you're not gonna get cavities from it just drinking it, you're gonna get cavities from the sugars being processed by the germs. So that's my bet. And we're gonna go through here and we'll test more. We even have more that are not on the table. We'll test those and we'll show you what those results look like. All right, welcome back guys. We tested all of these drinks and I think if you had an opportunity to even start to wonder, well, what are we gonna do? Which one's gonna be the most acidic? I'm hoping you guys comment down below just at what kind of acidity level we're talking about here with these things and which one's the most acidic, which one's the least acidic. And one of these was actually the opposite, basic. And that's pretty neat, and I'll tell you why. Because when you think of teeth, you gotta think of them as like a sponge, right? Teeth have a lot of minerals in them, and a sponge has water in it if you put water in it. But if you get that sponge water laden or just waterlogged and squeeze it out, the water comes out, right? So you put a stress on it and you squeeze it and the water comes out. But if you let go and there's still water in the area, it'll soak that right back up. And the teeth are just the same way. If you stress them and stress them and stress them, the calcium and the minerals are gonna come out of your teeth. But if you stop stressing them, all those calcium and minerals are in your saliva and the teeth can soak it right back up. So teeth are kind of like a sponge. They can self-heal with the calcium and minerals that are in your saliva. So why is it important that we let off the gas, so to speak, with the acid? Because if we do and it gets back to neutral after an hour, remember it takes an hour for it to go back to neutral, if we can let off the gas, our saliva can remineralize or recalcify our teeth and make them hard again. but only if we let off the gas. So we went back through and we tested all of these things, and I'm just gonna start back here and just work our way around just the same way as we did when we were testing them. The pink lemonade was a 3 on the acidity level. That might have been our most acidic, which may or may not surprise you, but our pink lemonade was a 3. It was one of our most acidic. The Sprite was a 4. The Pepsi was a 4. Some of these surprised me because I went online and I actually looked them up, and I think Pepsi and Coca-Cola are some of the most acidic pops that you can have, or sodas, depending on what part of the country you come from. So some of these in our hands with this little pH tester here was surprising me. The sweet tea was 5. So even though it's really sweet, people equate acidity with sweetness. It's not. It's this is acidic on its own, and they put a lot of sugar in it. You might be able to tell just by the mouthfeel. Whenever you take a drink, if your mouth starts to feel a little dry, it's probably acidic. So the next thing we tested was the kombucha, and the kombucha I thought might have been just a hair acidic, but it was actually a 4. And so when I start saying it was actually a 4, you're like 4 and 7, that's not much different. Each step is 10 times more acidic than the other. So a 6 is 10 times more acidic than a 7. A 5 is 10 times more acidic than a 6. So a 5 is actually 10 times 10 times more acidic than a 7. So it's 100 times more acidic than a 7. So if I say it was actually a 4, was it 10 times 10 times 10, right? It's really acidic. So that's 1,000, by the way, 1,000 times more. So when we go to the apple juice was a 4, the orange juice was a 4. I really thought the orange juice would have been more acidic than the apple juice. It's not. We have 2 different teas here. This one's a black tea. The black tea was 6. So that's only 10 times more acidic than neutral, I guess. So, but still, and it's above, remember where the threshold was, 5.5, the pH 5.5, where our teeth actually start to lose their calcium. So this one doesn't really squeeze that sponge. It doesn't really draw out the calcium like I thought it would, if this guy's right. Like I said, some of these readings are starting to surprise me a little bit, but that one, it will still stain your teeth, so if you're worried about that, be careful about that. And then we also did a herbal tea. This one is peppermint, I believe. I can smell it still, so it's peppermint tea, and that one was neutral. I was surprised by that too, but it's still a very, very dark color, so it can still stain your teeth. And so be careful about that. We did both black coffee and coffee with milk, and then we went to a cold brew. So we did these 3 coffees. The black coffee was a 6. We added just a little bit of half and half, like some people like to drink it, and found it stayed pretty much the same, still acidic. Then we went on to the cold brew, and the cold brew is about 5.5. That is right at the mark where you can start experiencing cavities. Perrier, that one was a 6, so still I want to exercise caution with that. If you're still introducing acidity to your mouth, you never know just who's going to respond to one acidic environment worse than another. So we think of this as like a cookie cutter, like 5.5 you get cavities, but it could be that maybe you get cavities earlier than the next person, right? There's nothing in medicine that says one size fits all, so I'm going to exercise caution with any of these drinks. The Propel, where'd that guy go? Here he is. I think I skipped. Excuse me. The spring water was 8. It's the exact opposite of acidic. It's basic. And what's really neat about that is you might actually want to think about those alkaline waters like pH water, or even just this natural spring water. I'm sure not all natural spring waters are basic, but if they are, you know, maybe that's something you just follow up, and that helps you neutralize the water real fast. I can't recommend just chasing all day long. You'd make a lot of restroom trips, but you know, that would help you neutralize a lot faster, I think. But if you wanted water, maybe that's a better option than this Propel, which is a Gatorade product, I think, and it is a 4. So this one, like I said, is 10 times 10 times 10 more acidic than neutral. So it's not just water, and it's not just electrolytes you're getting. You're getting a lot of acid in your mouth. And I tasted some of them now. My mouth's really quite dry. It makes me want to drink something, right? So maybe that's why these drink companies are adding that. So because it makes you want to drink more. The milk, I have it up here as a cautionary drink, even though it tested neutral. It tested at 7, and that's because it has its own sugar. So remember, lactose, there's a germ in your mouth, lactobacillus, it loves it. It creates an acid byproduct after eating the lactose that's found in that milk. So even though the milk won't cause you cavities, the germs will take all that sugar and cause cavities for you. So when I was looking at these, if you think, hey, I drink these things and I don't want to stop drinking them, how can I drink them more appropriately, more responsibly? We tell people drink water, maybe even this one, in between meals. So anything that's neutral or even basic, right? In between meals, so that we've let off the gas. We're not squeezing that sponge, and our teeth can recover, our mouth can recover. And then during meal times, have anything you want here, anything, because you're already challenging your teeth when you're eating. So have the food, have some drink, and then give your teeth a rest. And when your teeth have a rest, they'll take care of you. They'll stay strong, they'll pick up the minerals that are still in your mouth and your saliva, and you'll have healthy teeth again. Teeth are meant for challenging, but they need a break too. So when we look at all these things, did one of these surprise you? Was there something about it that you said, wow, I really thought one was going to be more acidic than the other? And it wasn't. Like for here, I thought the orange juice was going to be more acidic, but the apple juice and the orange juice really compared pretty much similarly. So I will tell you that drinks are not alone in causing cavities. There are other things that people do. For instance, people who say they brush 2 times a day maybe aren't brushing the appropriate way. Or some people say, yeah, I do snack. There are better snacks, so we can help you, coach you through that. So if there's something you want to call us about and say, I'd like to discuss why I'm getting cavities. I go and visit my dentist and he says my teeth look clean, but every time I see him, he's like, I can see you're starting a cavity here, or you have a cavity here, and we need to get that filled. Give us a call. We don't mind sitting down. The number one thing, yes, I'm going to fix the cavity. But the number one thing is I want to figure out what's causing your cavity. And then we can fix that and have a long-term stable mouth. That's what I'm looking for. So that like every 10 years you're finally doing dentistry because it finally wore out, not because you have another cavity around it. But call us if you have any questions. You leave some comments down. We'll read those too and see if you have questions, or if you thought some of these were bogus, or if you thought, no, the sweet tea was definitely going to be it. But give us a call. We're Renew Dental Arts. I'm Chris Miller. You can come on back and you can check us out. We are at renewdentalarts.com. You can check us out on Facebook as well. But we're just right downtown, 22nd in Delaware. We're a neighborhood dentist. You can swing by right by the office and make an appointment or call, or even do it online. So thanks for joining us, guys.